Okay, I'm gonna try to record this in 90 seconds. So we used to use a different product for children, considering they were the quote unquote growing up plan. I just wanted to kind of get this out there for those of you that are on this call. This is being recorded. So this is kind of the newer plans that we're looking at here. A whole lot better, a lot more coverage, and they give the child a whole lot more flexibility. So the old growing up plans or plans you would get for children just covered the life insurance side. So it was just a life insurance until they were 18, and then it would double, and then the premium stayed the same, and that was it, right? So they were guaranteed to be covered no matter if they got sick or got ill anytime in their life. So these new plans and what I'm about to show you, you're gonna you're gonna 100% agree with me. Geez, this is ridiculously better. There's just so much more. So it not only covers the life insurance side, but it also does the increasing life insurance coverage, but it covers the children in any event of critical illness, which is cancer, heart attack, stroke, organ failure, that kind of stuff, which is freaking huge because, again, they don't have to pass away to be covered from this. As soon as they're diagnosed, they're given a huge amount of money. Also, it's a true emergency fund if they need it. It's a savings account with interest bearing capabilities. It's 100% flexible, so you can change the premium amount. If they want to pay more once they become an adult, they can and get a lot more benefits. And then tax free income whenever they need. So, again, blazing through these benefits here for you. I'll just show you exactly what we did. So, Kimber just set this up with for her last week. She has a 1-year-old female living in Arizona. These plans kind of differ from state to state, so we'll have to see exactly what your parameter is. She's doing 25 a week. So the way we typically set these up, regardless if it was the old plans or the new ones, typically just figure out, hey, how much do you make an hour, and then just say, okay, cool. If you make 25 an hour, that means every Monday that you go into work, you can just count your 8 your 8 o'clock hour, whatever time you start, 8 to 9, that goes towards your kid's future. So she's doing $25 a week. You can do 7 a week, you can do 10 a week, you can do 100 a week, it doesn't matter. But these accounts are all funded by the month, so 25 a week would obviously be $100 per month. So just kind of looking at this illustration here, her child again is 1 years old. So the top left corner, you can see 1 years old starting off. The child will have, I'll kind of zoom in here, see if I can highlight this for you. Her child will start off with $151,000 of life insurance coverage, give or take. All right. And then you can see as she gets older, the child's life insurance will increase. Okay. So you can also see in the cash value column, which is right next to it, that there is a continual cash value growth. Now, this is an estimate. Obviously, this is all based off of the markets and the indexing, so it is an estimate, but it gives us a fairly good idea of what we should expect here. So, for instance, if we go to the child is now turned, let's just say 20 years old, since it's the last one on this little column. Child's 20 years old. What does that look like? 19 years in the future. Well, now the child has $184,000 of life insurance coverage and $34,000 estimated, again, of cash value. So if the child needed to take money out of here, borrow from it, whatever needs to happen, that money is there. So that's again where the true emergency and savings account comes into play, right? Not to mention, so let's fast forward a little bit here. Let's just say something happens to the child at age 35. So I have cancer in my family. 2 of my relatives have had it, and I always point this out because the old plans don't have this coverage. But this is what I'm saying. Just looking at the American Cancer Society's website here, I just want to point out that as of right now, it's about 40% of males are going to develop some kind of cancer in their lifetime, and approximately 38% of females will develop some kind of cancer in their lifetime. I mean, these aren't inflated numbers. Most people know somebody who's had cancer, who's had a stroke, who's had a heart attack. Any of those things are considered covered. So just to show you here, sorry to keep switching back and forth, but you can see here, it's considered a critical illness. So that's what that critical illness means. The benefit then pays out 25% of the death benefit as long as it's less than 50,000. So I just did the quick math here for you. It's about $36,000 starting off on the very first year of coverage that the child would be eligible for, because again, right here, the starting death benefit was 151,000, and about 24% of that is $36,358. So if this child was ever to be diagnosed with any kind of cancer, heart attack, stroke, any kind of critical illnesses, then this benefit would pay out. That's where, you know, it becomes really important for us. So you know, again, that's something that the old plans definitely didn't have. And you might think, well, 35 is a bit young to develop cancer, don't you think? Well, hey, I mean, not for my family and not for a lot of others. Even if we move forward here and take a look at, let's take a look when they're 60, right? 60 years old now. And we are on this column here, right? So now they have $925,607 of death benefit. So little under $1 million of death benefit. So again, it doesn't matter at any point in time if they ever develop any kind of critical illnesses, chronic illnesses, which is obviously Alzheimer's, dementia, stuff like that you're never going to get rid of. The benefit pays out directly to them. So why would that be beneficial? Well, hey, if you've ever met anybody that's had any of those illnesses, they have to take off of work, they have to drive to chemo, they have to find a hotel to stay at. Typically, chemo is really rough to travel back and forth from, especially if you're going to a, you know, a very fancy, you know, like the City of Hope in Phoenix is a world-renowned cancer institution, anything like that, right? And again, same thing here. You can see the cash value accrue now has estimatedly swollen up to $690,000. So again, we keep track of, you know, it's the same amount here. So it's still $1,200 a year where Kimber started. And again, this is where it's flexible because again, she's doing $100 a month, which is $1,200 a year. She can change this anytime she wants. So what a lot of people do is they just say, hey, when my kid turns 22, let's just say he doubles the input into the account. Instead of putting $100 a month, what if they put 200 into it? And we can run that illustration as well. But the bottom line here is, you know, you can turn on a lifetime income that's tax free. So we ran this for Kimber's child at age 67. And one of the huge benefits to this is you can turn on this lifetime income whenever you want. You could run it to turn on at 45, at 70, at 35, whatever you want. But in this case, at age 67, in this scenario, in this specific illustration, it's showing $110,000 of tax-free income every single year would be distributed to this child. Okay, and this goes on forever, so it's not just like it ends or anything like that. We're illustrating this one out to age 100. So if we need to illustrate it out further, we absolutely can, but we're illustrating out to age 100. So just the comparison to see the huge value in this over, you know, from the time that the child was 1 year old to 67, the total amount put into the account was $79,200. And this illustration is showing once the child retired at 67 and they started getting their $110,000 every single year tax free. Well, from the time that they retired to age 100, they were paid out in this illustration a little over, you know, well, almost $4 million. Again, this is tax-free income, right? So you can hopefully now see why this is so much more powerful and a lot more flexible, and why we're no longer doing just a standard, hey, you know, just have your child's whole life coverage and then it doubles. So again, entire life coverage that never expires, increases coverage. You saw that covers in case they get sick, not only passing away, true emergency fund, savings account, 100% flexible, and then tax-free income whenever they need it. And by the way, they can completely cash out this plan if they want to. So for instance, if they just get sick of it and you pass away at 35 and they're just like, the heck with it, they can just completely, cash out the plan and take whatever's in that accrue. So that's the whole plan in a nutshell. Sorry that ran a little bit long, but yeah,